Hello everyone, it's Professor 8005 over here. This time around we'll be doing a very short recap of like the visual presentation stream like this afternoon actually. So we're just gonna have to go through like some of the most important key parts of the stream. We'll also simultaneously trying to give out my personal opinions about how I feel about the stream. But before we get straight into the news and the recap, a message from our video sponsor. This video is sponsored by MyMetalCards at Etsy.com. So yes, this is a new upcoming shop which specializes in selling like a lot of metal cards. So hence the name. So it ranges and specializes in like a lot of games such as Conflict Vanguard, MTG, and Warhammer. So in this case, if you see here for Vanguard, they have energy counters for every nation. There's also like treasure tokens for MTG. There's also like plenty other designs for Vanguard, such as like fated ones. There's also like nation ones, and also it comes with acrylic ones. It's more transparent acrylic ones, so that's pretty cool. If you want to get one of these, that's also nice. And also there's plenty of other designs which are not in this shop, but you can custom pre-order them. You can like order them customly, such as like my Chrono Jet black and white energy counter, which is like 0 to 10. There's also like black and white like nation cards such as like Brungate, which I have over here, and also like they have like IoT energy like energy markers, energy counters, which I have like all three, like bronze, silver, gold respectively. So that's about it. And also, if you go to this shop and have the coupon code Enochsays, 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 you get $5 off for your first purchase of one of these metal cards as well. So five again. Enochsays, ENOCHSAYS, for $5 off for your first purchase, and do check them out. There's plenty of designs, and you can use them to spicify your decks, make it bling, make it fancy. Do keep in mind that since these are custom-made energy markers or whatsoever, counters or whatsoever, you cannot use them in like official Bushiroad tournaments, but you can use them as a form of like collection or whatsoever. And there you go. Just pick one of these up, and hopefully you like them. I like it personally, so do give them the support. And that's about it. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, that aside, let's get straight into the news per se. First of all, we will be talking about the new Vagra. So there is technically a new Vagra coming out of this set. So I think that's not a surprise. There are some of us who believe like there's a leak a few weeks ago that coming out like there would like be a new Levitras, a new Vagra, and of course the new Rezael Vita is actually confirmed, because like last 2 weeks in the anime episode, we actually showed a screenshot of that particular unit already, like with Akina holding the card. So that is quite confirmed, but we didn't know that we're gonna get the new Vagra confirmed, or like the new Levitras confirmed. But of course, this is the confirmation that we get that we do have a new Vagra, and the new Vagra's name is Unparalleled Dracorsleeve. Dracorsleeve Vagra Dragras Rakshasa. Alright, so the art is like very cool, very nice. It's like in front of the screen right now. Alongside with like Dark Now over there. So very fascinating artwork, very fascinating design, I would say. So it's like quite cool. So Now fans and Vagra fans are very happy, extremely happy that Now actually gets a huge glow up per se, like a Dark Now appearing, as well as the new Vagra. So of course, and one thing that is like very important about this new Vagra is that this is not a fated king. As most people have believed, that actually is like different. If there has a different kanji to it, it's like Matoryu or something like that, right? Probably around those lines, but it's definitely not Destined King. So we kind of believe that like Levitras might be the new Destined King, or something else. We don't know. Now, whether or not this is like Sibyl's like real form in the manga, like not in the manga, like in the anime, is to be confirmed. We don't know this is like Sibyl's real form, so that we have to wait for like this week's episode to understand the backstory behind it or the lore. So if any one of you who are like very understand like deep into the lore, there would be one part of like if you can just comment down in the comment section down below like what's the relationship between all of this stuff, right? So because I'm not really we are all not sure. So that's one part of it. And of course we are getting a DSR version of this Dark Vagra or Rakshasa. And I would say like this artwork's like impressive, super cool and like super insane. We didn't thought that we get a DSR for this time around. We might thought we like get a different DSR for Odium, but I think it's like highly unlikely. So I think there's a very big confirmation this time around that we got ourselves a DSR Vagra Rakshasa this time around. So yes, drawn none other by Clem in terms of the DSR, Clem Sensei, and of course the OG one. And not the OG art, and the OG Vagra, old Vagra art is like drawn by the Vagra Rakshasa is drawn by Hagia Karu Sensei, which of course she was here last week in Bushiroad Expo Malaysia. So like I'm very happy to have her around in Malaysia, and of course like blessed us with this new artwork. So that's about it for the in terms of like the new Vagra reviews. So moving on, we have the next part of the segment of like being with the cards that is being revealed, or more like the set that is being revealed actually, is that we have Koro the Duo Nation stuff, which you can mix with like it's like V-Sport and like a mix of like other nations. Let's say that you can build a whole nation of V-Sport of it, but this time now you can build a whole nation of Koro, or you can mix some of those cards with like your respective nations, right? So for example, black, as in like you can mix it with either with the Koro nations, or you can mix it with Black Maelstrom. You have the Chrono, which is in the also largest one. You can mix it with the Dark States. You have Takahashi Bebe, which is the Stoichia one. So yes, plenty of the dual nation cards in there is definitely dual nations like V-Sport. But the most fascinating part and the most interesting point about this particular review is that the box toppers, I think there's a box toppers, we will have a Koro rare. So we have like this one card which is the reprinted Shenri, and you have Gao Mikado, I think that's the name. I haven't been get into Buddy Fight for quite some time, but yes, of course Buddy Fight is back in Vanguard in some sense, so this is there as a Eidos Faro Blue OT. So this is like pretty fascinating, and I think this is a very it gets a lot of people excited because like Buddy Fight fans who are really happy to see that like to see Buddy Fight being mentioned, and I see Buddy Fight being appearing in like some sort of card artwork again. So I think that's a very cool part of it. And so yeah, actually we have like extra details. Is like this is something else. Is it like there's a different yeah, so definitely it's going to be a box stopper for this time. So that's one part for the Koro news. And moving on to news about like Set 6. Moving on to Set 6 news, and this is the most fascinating and the most interesting part and the most exciting part of the whole Vanguard segment of the Bushiroad stream, was that they have, technically speaking, gave us a sneak peek, or say give us a little bit of like a sneak peek of 2 new units, which is of course Jikuryu, Chronos Command Dragon, and of course Sorceryu, Trans-Elves Messiah. So of course these names, if you do remember these 2 names, they are actually encounter units which they have been appearing in G era time, so which is very cool. They are technically G units, so this is the first time that they're going to do something about like releasing strides in booster packs. So these 2 G units will be coming out in Set 6, which will be around like December. So there's so of course the name will be like Jiku Soryu, if I'm not mistaken, or like time space creation dragon, if you want to like you know, translate it in that particular sense. And so Of course, this is very exciting for most of us Chrono Jet players, Gear players, because like of course Chrono's Command is back, but of course Messiah gets a huge buff as well. So this is a jet buff, a big jet buff, I would say, because already we have the rules that establish that we can have 16 cards in the G zone. So assuming that we're gonna get like 4 copies of this, of four of the new G units each, we cannot probably have to extend our G zones to at least like 12 G units at this point. So at this, I think our deck boxes at this, I mean, you know, our deck box probably will not can't fit like another 4 more G units if we were to double sleeve everything. So that's a great news. But also at the same time, we are also like figuring out what's the direction of the whole strike deck sets. In particular, because this is the first time I would say that they've never done something like this about like releasing strikes in like booster sets in the context of like standard, right? So this would be the first time. Honestly speaking, if you were to ask me, personally speaking, I would say that it would be much better to release all of the nation's strike decks first. Then you release some of the supports for the G units and you know, probably G Guardians in the near future. But of course, I think this is I think it's a bit too soon in my opinion, but I think this is fine. And also the choices for this particular strike is actually fascinating because Chronos Command, I never expected Chronos Command to actually like show up, nor this Trans-El's Messiah. Because these two G units is pretty famous for like having the you know bot wipes and whatnot, right? So if you are so if you do remember, for those of us who stayed around for like G era, you know, Chronos Command's skill was that like if you on hit, you pay the cost and then you just bot decks everyone. Trans-El's Messiah was the one that on place you get to lock everyone on the board and then unlock something that is not locked by this particular effect, right? So lock everything and then unlock it but not this effect. So which is cool for in terms of like Trans-El's Messiah at the time. So I'm not sure like what's Bushiroad's approach on approach for trying to make this G units in the long run in the near future, but of course I'm very excited for it as a Chrono Jet player, and of course I think that's all for the time being. So that's about it, right? So moving on to the next segment of the news. And of course, with this next particular segment, we will be talking about Dear Days 2. Now, whatever you are feeling about Dear Days 2, I think a lot of people have like a mixed reaction about like the game in itself. Some people say it's a cash grab, some people say it's an improvement, because of like some new additions and like trying to introduce like the energy generator system. Some of us have been like complaining about like why don't they just update the code from the old Dear Days, and we have already spent so much on the old Dear Days, and then we have the whole DLCs coming. But that's besides the point. Of course, Dear Days 2, with this particular stream, Bushiroad actually introduces us like a few interesting snippets of this particular game. Which is that they have released about like a few OG sets in the OG era of the Vanguard, which have Descent of the King of Knights, Kishio Korin, and up until the one with the Festival of Divas, which is the Millennial set. So now officially, now you can say that we can play the OG stuff, OG Vanguard stuff in Dear Days 2. So I think I find that part like really cool and also like pretty fun, because this is like something of like a premium per se. You're not technically playing premium, but of course they will have like OG stuff to be released into the game and let us experience the feeling of like playing the OG Vanguard for the very first time in our lives. So I think this is a very interesting, I would say, trend or like the way forward about like this whole Dear Days 2. So is it still a little bit not justified about like having the new game being released? I'm not sure. I think I can understand that if those of us who have already bought Dear Days 2 in the beginning, they said bought Dear Days in the beginning, they have like spent so much like actual money to like get with the games and then with the DLCs and whatnot. So would this price will this particular content of this addition into the set helps to justify justify sets. I'm not really sure. But then again, we have this. Already got this kind of like a new content, new addition. So I think that's fine. I think I'm very happy to see like some sort of the OG Vanguard being brought back. And you know what would be more interesting to see, that if we're gonna have to see OG era cards to be played into the deck, so we can experience like G era stuff again. So kind of like we kind of like have say Kagero, Mega Colony, and all that stuff, right? G era stridings, and that would be very fascinating to see. But we don't know what's the direction of Gear Days in the future, or Gear Days 2 in the future. So kind of look forward to that, although I'm not really like hugely keen upon that fact. But then again, it is what it is. Gear Days 2 will be released on next year, January 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's part of the news for Gear Days. So put it down in the comment section down below. How do you feel about the whole new content in or the additions to Gear Days 2? So yeah, put it down in the comment sections. I just want to hear your guys' opinions. So yeah, that's about it. Last but not least, we'll be talking about the ban list. Of course, this is the most crucial and the most, I would say, the most pressing point of the entire stream, because like every 3 months we will have get a set of like we will get to have a set of ban lists to see like what cards can be used and what cards can't be used, and can't be used. Okay, so this time around, it is very, very, very surprising. Izaso is limited to 1, and so is Furai, which is from the Shirani deck set. Now, let's talk about and that's about it. Like no changes in premium, no changes in pre-premium, because I know that they're Bushiroad at this point probably not gonna touch those formats for a very, very long time, right? So let's put that aside for that time being. I'm gonna have to spend some quite some time to talk about this particular part of the ban list itself, because a lot of us, for those of us who are probably like worried about the direction where Shoujo Doji is going and where Shirane is going, being that both of them are pretty much the powerhouses of the meta, and also in the Dragon Empire, and also within Dragon Empire, right? So we were thinking, after like very much long discussions with our friends and whatnot, we thought that like cards like Tsukio Dachi and Kinran probably is gonna get restricted to 1, or like get banned, or like say choice restriction, alongside with like the other card was like being talked about was the CC one, because like the CC one was a bit like too powerful, and then you can just call it with 10k shield. Now that particular card, I am not very I'm not afraid of those of that card in general, but mostly my concerns was of course you probably have to touch Tsukio Dachi, or you have to touch Kinran in general, right? So I think Isasao being limited to 1 is a bit weird for me, because I don't see how it kind of changes. I mean, it does change a lot of things, because Isasao's biggest buff of the biggest buff that can provide to Shoji is that Shoujo Doji in general is that you can just counter plus 1 and just look top 5 and find whatever stealth units that is really important and into your hand, which means that you can fetch your PGs, which means you can fetch like your counter chargers or secure touches or whatsoever, or like something like very important key pieces that you might need, right? So if you have like play 4 of those Isasaos, you can probably like going through like a mass levels of like filtering in that particular deck in general, and that's where I can understand and I can see the point is. But of course, Bushiroad did release a whole PDF about like explaining why they hit this particular card in the first place, and so is Furai. Now Furai, I've been talking for this for quite some time, because honestly speaking, from my own personal perspective, I think that having the Shirane Strike Light set coming out is not the wrong thing to do. I think that's, and as a matter of fact, I think like we welcome this kind of like old encounter strike deck sets coming back. The thing is that I don't understand like whoever that person is designing that Furai should have a restand alongside with Seki A. is thought of this as like a good idea. Not only Furai gets a 15k, because of like you can dominate 3 times and you can already dominate 3 times and you can get 5k. Like it's a like essentially like a 25 attacker on like your first grade 3 turn or something like first strike. And all added with a very interesting cost of like a very simple cost of like soul blasting 1 and restanding. I think that's a little bit just too much. And but then again, like Shoujo Doji is very famous for not very having too much souls to work around with, so that's why the restanding part was kind of like iffy. But then again, there's a lot of like Shirani players have found ways to alleviate this kind of problem by playing cards that can actually soul charge and in the early game and also in the late game as well, just for the resources. And also, now that Furai has been hit to 1, people will be looking for alternatives like Xperi Idia, which also technically does the same thing, but then the power will not be as high because at best, Xperi Idia will be only swinging for like 23k if you turn a card in the G unit face up, right? So that's one part of it. So of course, I'm not in a very. There is a document of like explaining the ban list and the watch list per se. So I'm not gonna touch on that for the time being. I think like let Chris, Different Fight, and many other content creators to touch on that particular analysis, because I'm not very good with this analysis. Admittedly, I'm just giving you the news. So I think they are more. I think they have a more deeper, much more better insight, much more deeper analysis on like how they analyze the meta and like how they look into the ban list in general. So if you're trying to look for those explanations, probably have to wait for Different Fights videos or like any other content creators videos on this particular subject. So unfortunately, I can't provide you with this particular insight, but of course, in my own personal opinion, I think the ban list, it should be warranted, because this like one time, I also thought that Shirani could not get worse with like this whole ban list, because the hitting Shirani with the Dragon Empire OT was pretty rough enough, but hitting Shirani at 1 copy is like definitely going to deliver the so-called death blow for most Shirani players and like the deck in general, right? About Shoujo Doji, I'm still not very. I just really don't understand what's the justification behind it. I still need to read more on that. So that's very. So I think that's like very crucial on like understanding how the deck works. But then again, as someone who has faced Shirani and Shoujo Doji on a consistent basis, it's pretty much oppressive. It's a very rush deck, almost close to tier 0, in my own personal opinion. So I would say I'm kind of happy with the ban list, because I'm not because I kind of dislike Shoujo Doji with a passion. I kind of dislike Shirani with a passion, because like how the matchup sometimes is just so not fun to go against. So yeah, that's about it. And that's my perspective. That's my part on the whole ban list perspective of the ban list in general. And that's about it. Of course, I'm gonna end this video right here, right now. If you do have anything, comments and questions in the comment section down below in regards to the news and the recap, please feel free comment in the comment section down below. If you have any other discussions or disagreements or whatsoever, feel free to put in the comment section down below, right? So I think this is about it. I'm gonna edit this video. I'm gonna have to put it out, and of course I'm gonna see you on the next video. It's been almost like 2 weeks since I didn't release this video from the last video. So of course I opened a Hari Strike deck set. Please check that out. And that's about it. I will see you guys on the next video. This has been Professor Inel095 signing out.